Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
assholeconsulting.com. It's like Hydra. I do want to replace it. Which is a problem I have. It's a good problem. A Brazilian agent in the field writes, I'm 22 years old and have been living in Brazil for my whole life. I'm a software developer born into a Jehovah's Witness family. I want to know how that happens in Brazil. I want to know that. Which means I got brainwashed into believing the apocalypse is just around the corner. Up until last year, I had to devote at least 8 hours weekly to the cult's activities. I was able to quit the religion because I became financially independent. Important note, even though not the intention of his request is an important note for all you youngins out there, when you belong to a religion, and especially if it's very culty, and you start realizing, oh, the guy nailed to a plank of wood, or whatever weird shit that this cult says, or that cult says, or don't eat jelly beans on Tuesdays, when you start to develop as an adult, and you're like, hey, this doesn't make any sense, you start to question it, none of this shit matters until you are financially independent. If you still rely on your parents for money, and they say, you go to church, you go to synagogue, you go to mosque, guess what, motherfuckers? If you'd like to eat, you will go to church, you will go to synagogue, or you will go to mosque. Right? But not until you become an independent individual, where you pay your, an adult, independent. I'll explain that later for you ladies who are relying upon government cheese to go and get your master's in women's studies, whatever bullshit. But until that point, then they can tell you what to do. Because they own you by that time. But if you are financially independent, then you can do whatever the hell you want. It's funny. When, parents say, well, when you pay your own rent, you can do whatever you want. Then you actually do it, they're like, oh, fuck. They did it. And they're like, well, you're right. Zip. Well, that's right. You go over there and you go do your jumping jacks with the rest of the Catholics as you pray to some funny-looking dude on a cross. Sorry, Virgin Mary. Catholics are Virgin Mary. I remember that now. And I was able to quit the religion because I became financially independent, but not without psychological damage. I also lost all my social circle because leaving the cult means everyone's inside the cult has to shun you. And guess what? All my friends and my whole family are cultists. Yeah, it's like one step below the Muslims where they'll kill you if you're an apostate. Is that the right word? Did I just use a good vocabulary word correctly? Apostate. Did I do that? Apostate. A person who renounces a religious or political belief. Look at the old Captain Go. Getting a liberal arts education without knowing it in theology. Using all the right 50-cent words. It's just, an apostate is just one level below, or being accused of an apostate and being ostracized or banished is just one, level below getting murdered by the Muslims. Because in the olden days that meant, you would die. You'd be thrown out into the wild and no one would take you. A rival tribe would enslave you, just kill you for S's and G's. That's, and it shows you that it shows you where they don't really care about you. They might, but they care about the religion and more their cult in themselves than you. Which is, it's one thing to understand. I understand the guy walking down the street shouldn't like me more than, the dog taking a piss on a tree. But when your own family fuck you, we got this book, and it says things, and there's no scientific evidence of us shit going on, just some crazy dudes in the Middle East, writing shit, high on clout, wandering the desert, so fuck you, I'm believing in this. So, if you're in there's good religion, and I understand it, and always God is, Allah is supposed to come first. I get that, but then when you get these cults where it's really their ego, and it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with how much time they've invested into this ideology, and their ego cannot abide by the fact that they may have pissed away their life on something pointless and stupid instead of vesting their interest and their love in their children or loved ones or friends or whatever else. So it's really sad, but it's just that's what it is. But you know this firsthand. So this is for more other people. And guess what? All my friends are studied in the public schools my whole life. We're morons in the 8th grade, couldn't read properly, but we're all well versed in Marxist diabolical ideology. Is it that pronounced over in Brazil? Like, you guys are pretty much socialists. Have they not figured it out? Huge setback. I'm still catching up by studying content from Khan's Academy and Udemy courses. I make 80,000 Brazilian real, which I looked it up. It's like $27,000 US, which means I might be able to afford 1 or 2 bananas in the United States. But if you have 2 bananas, you're a rank capitalist bourgeoisie bastard. You better give that other banana to some poor single mom down in Brazil. But I can live well enough here on this money. You might be wondering if I went to college, and the answer is I'd rather be forced to watch 24/7 modern art exhibits, be impaled and be sucked by dozens of leeches all at the same time. I did go to a technical school where I studied programming for a year and a half. The teachers were fucking morons with no real work experience. Yeah, dude, it looks like Udemy and edX and all the online education is even more of a savior for, like, Brazilian shithole than it is the United States. Because, yeah, if your teachers can't do shit, which is the same thing here in the United States, that allows you to just bypass that old fucking Marxist bullshit. Currently, my strategy is to save as much money as I can while I'm working, and in my spare time, I'm studying math and enhancing my programming skills. Yes, even though I hate the idea of going to college, I get paranoid about people thinking I'm not qualified. So I'm working towards Java, database, and software modeling UML certifications. Let's stop right here. All right, you could get by on the money you make now, which means you don't need college technically. I'm just saying, you're getting by. You may not be achieving your best. You may envy or wish or aspire to have a corporate gig in Brazil. But right now, you're doing fine. You're getting by. So keep that in mind. That means you don't have to. I always love it when I get these guys who are doing really well. Sometimes girls too, but it's predominantly guys. Where I'm making 80 grand a year. I have no debt. I'm a minimalist. My rent is $200 a month. I mean, I have no car. I walk to the... But man, I'd really like to make 120 grand. I'm like, what the fuck do you need an extra 40 grand for? You're a minimalist. The number one benefit of being a minimalist and spending less than you make is you don't need to suck the cock and kiss the ass of corporate assholes anywhere, Brazil or the United States. You answer to no one. It's freedom. And it's also easier on your finances and less stressful. So I would stop. You are surviving right now with your IT skills. And you are doing exactly what I would recommend you do to advance your IT skills and make more money if you'd like. But stop worrying about college. You are proving every day you don't need college. It sounds like colleges in Brazil are even worse than the United States. But as you're going through Udemy and edX and Khan's Academy and whatever other online, you're learning your skills just fine from digital teachers. You don't need to go to a college. You're saving time not physically going to the college. You just fire up your laptop. That's a huge saving people don't think about as well. So I think you're doing great. So don't worry about college no more. Fuck college. After I get the certifications, I plan on making my own apps to earn some money. You don't need a Professor Dickwad, or what's Portuguese? What is Dickwad in Portuguese? Dickwadio? I have a few ideas, but I'm open to other possibilities. Mental health, this one is a biggie. As I said, no family, barely any friends. I have one good friend, and I have been snapping at moronic people. I made a feminist manager cry, and I thought I was done after that, but I managed to survive. I feel bad for a while and apologized over text. I didn't feel bad enough to go in person. The problem is my managers are morons. The leadership is extremely weak and does not make any decision that makes any sense. One of my bosses says that we should try to make all decisions collectively, and I said this will not work. We should all give suggestions, sure, but someone has to make the call. The dumbass doesn't agree, and as a result, every project goes downhill the second it starts. I'm becoming increasingly egotistical and opportunistic. The only times I manage to be calm in a tense setting is when I try to look at how that situation might give me some kind of advantage. Okay, good. There's some sprouts of growth. Excuse me, I'm coming down with something. All right, let's talk about your rage. You have every legitimate, authentic reason to be short, curt, angry, and rageful and yelling at people. You have every right. In part because the people that you're dealing with are morons, but also in part because you come from a very stressed background. All right, and today you don't have that much of a social. I mean, you were on your fucking own. And I remember, when I was in college and had nothing to back me up, and I mean, I had a fuse. I mean, my fuse is about that now, but it was back in the day. And there's only through the grace of God, if you believe it, did I not land up in jail, get the crap kicked out of me, I mean, it was very short. I'd have road rage. I mean, many ways it could go. Inevitably, if you don't control this, and it's good, you're 100% authenticated in being pissed off. That doesn't change the fact that if you don't get this under control, you are going to fuck up majorly, and you are going to potentially ruin your life. Okay? And it could come in a fight. It could come in, this woman filing a sexual harassment complaint, although I don't know if that exists in Brazil. You're going to fly off the handle, and it's going to be an environment where you will not come out unscathed. You might come out crippled, like someone would hit you and you lose sight in an eye. You're dating a girl and you rip her a new one because of some minor flaw that women have, and she decides to leave you or sperm jack you or whatever. You have to accept the fact that no matter how legitimate your rage and anger is, it's not going to play well in the real world. And I know you have few short resources. No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The field that you are playing on does not accept that. All right? So you have got to control your rage. Now, how do you do that? Well, you make some progress here. I'm becoming increasingly egotistical and opportunistic. The only times I manage to be calm in a tense setting is when I try to look at how that situation might give me some kind of advantage. Right. Now, here's another thing. I asked you what your IQ was. You're like, I don't know, never took. I'm like, why do you test your IQ? No, I don't want to. I'm like, why do you test your IQ? I don't have time. I'm like, test your IQ, motherfucker. And surprise, surprise, it comes back 131. Like a Dragon Ball Z power level, which I had to look up recently. So, and this shows progress. Like, if it was just you coming from a bad background, you'd be resorting to crime or you'd be punching people. You are smart enough to start realizing to take opportunity of this, and that's why I forwarded you the article, The Case for Evil. All right? So, what you have is a bad situation, a bunch of lemons, and we're going to make lemonade out of it because now you're starting to realize that you're not going to change people. And compared to you, with your IQ of 131, damn well near 95% of the population is dumber than you. And I'd say 75% of the population is just outright retarded and stupid to you. They're not changing. That's not going away. Brazil will not become 1955's America. America is not going to become 1955's America. You are stuck in a second world shithole filled with the exact same leftist, Marxist, socialist douchebags and morons that we have here in the U.S., except they're just poorer and further south, and you speak Portuguese. And none of that's going to change. And I can't even be too lecturing or authoritative on this, because I too, and I just been wrestling with this myself, where it's like, holy shit, are there a lot of dumb motherfuckers out there? And I have tried for 20 years, since I was, 20 years, I celebrated my graduation from college 20 years, a month ago. So this has been 24 years for college. I have been futilely arguing with people, trying to point out reason, evidence, logic, sanity, in politics, in college, at work, in social situations, familiar, doesn't matter. This is why asshole consulting charges, because at least I get money out of it, whether or not people follow my advice. But one thing I have noticed in the nearly 25 years I've argued politics, reason, evidence, empiricism, excellence, accomplishment from here in corporate, employment, educate, wherever, nobody fucking listens, nobody fucking changed their mind, nobody cared. Which legitimizes and authorizes you, me, and every other smart motherfucker out there to take advantage of these stupid sheep. Alright? I'm not saying commit crime and be evil. But if they want, it's like a drug dealer. Well, you shouldn't deal drugs. People, they're gonna go and do the drugs no matter what. You might as well make money off of it. I'll use the example in that article, The Case for Evil. A girl's gonna fucking cheat on her husband, and she comes up to you and says, fuck me now. You're like, whoa, hang on. You're married. That's enough. Fuck that bullshit. She will find another dick down the road. You might as well fuck her. You're a professor. You have your doctorate in some bullshit. You know that you major in bullshit, and you have a mea culpa, and you oh God, I majored in something stupid. All right? And you say, well, I'm not going to teach African American history or women's studies or sociology because all I'm doing is further indebting these poor kids. They're going to go find some professor that's going to teach them that same bullshit. You might as well make that money yourself. And so you are seeing with your IQ, with your impatience, and here's where your background has helped you. You don't have time for bullshit. You had to make efficient choices, and things had to pay off. And things had to be like here and now because you just had no familial support, especially when you're younger. I mean, it's very hard. You need food. So you do not have to, and so I would never give up your impatience. That's the standard by which you hold people to, or at least yourself. And if they can't get out, they're not part of your team, you're like, those are the really high functional ones. Those are the ones you kind of keep in your close network of friends and that you use for, not manipulate, but you use like for employment, or you got a like I hire out Chad Elkins. Why the fucker gets shit done? Jim Fear, 138blogspot.com. I hire him. Why the fucker gets it done? These guys are hustling. Glendon Cameron, watch his, he's up there. He's at that amplitude, man. The rest, no matter how much you see a solution, no matter how much you see a simple problem and a simple solution to a problem, they don't want to hear it. And you are only going to enrage yourself, piss yourself off, and burn through that short fuse already trying to, it's traffic. Another thing, I mean, I've come very far. My girlfriend still gets pissed at traffic. I'm like, what are you going to do about this? All you're doing is getting angry at this. Now, I can take a very flippant approach because I don't drive in traffic. I'm like, I mean, we were going to different restaurants on Sunday. I forgot, oh, it's Sunday, because you lose track of work days, weekends. It doesn't matter because I'm fucking me. And there's like lines because every fucking sheep, every fucking morning, I'm angry at the sheep. They line up and they don't think nothing about pissing away 45 minutes of their finite weekend free time sitting with one of those fucking buzzy things. I'm like, fuck this. We're more important than these sheep. But getting back to your point, your mental health, let's focus on you need to get rid of the rage. You need to realize you have a choice that you can get angry at every instance in for the rest of your life. There is guaranteed in your path going to be, and they're already chosen, they're already fated to they're already planned out. You just don't know. You just haven't gone down that path yet. There are morons, idiots, evil people, sheeple, lemmings, Marxists, dipshits, millennials, whatever the Brazilian equivalent of those are. They are down that path. And you are going, now, you can either accept that and let them piss you off at every moment in time, or you could take a much more opportunistic and Machiavellian approach and say, well, one, at least, at minimum, you could take a Zen approach, say, I'm not going to let that bother me. It's fated to happen. It's outside of my control. Repeat the serenity prayer. Look it up if you don't know what it is, and continue down that path. And you're going to have a much better life. Much better life, because, if you get pissed off at something, you hit somebody, it's over for you. But then making the lemonade out of the lemons is, what you're doing now. How do I take advantage of these people? How can I profit off of them? Okay? And I'm with you there, man. There's no more morality. There's no more morality. My life is impaired by these dumbass motherfuckers. Everyone asks why I hate the baby boomers. I have another perfect example. Poor Rich's, I'll tell you a little side story. Poor Rich's retirement comes out. I'm like, okay, I got to advertise. Ironically, I have to start advertising to baby boomers because they're the ones that need it the most. So I find a baby boomer thing. I put together this article, say, please write an article for us. I pay them the money so they could do the advertising on their site. They took my article. It was hilarious. It was perfect. It was very well scripted. No animosity or anger towards the baby, like a genuine article of help. And they take out all the good shit and they edit the fuck out of it. And I'm like, you dumb baby boomer motherfuckers. And I could get pissed off at no, why? It's baby boomers. Like, what the fuck? How do I take advantage of the situation now? How do I and I got an idea. We'll see it later. But this is the route you have to go down. So try to find a way going forward to take advantage of these people. It likely is going to be in the realm of entrepreneurship, but like I was alluding to this before. I have ideas already lined up that if asshole consulting goes away, or doing things the right way goes away, I'm going to just lie and tell people what they want to hear. And I'll be under a non-diploma, it'll be completely different. You won't even know it's me. But I just look at it, I'm like, my God, I could probably triple my income telling lies. It's going to suck doing that. But just keep in mind, what you're doing is not unethical. What you're doing is not wrong. These people deserve it because they are slowing you down. Just like the baby boomers slowed me down from everything. Like your parents slowed you down, all right? And the morons in the markets to slow you down. You know, like the kid in the checkout line who after Trump got elected told me, yeah, man, Trump got elected, now I don't know what, I'm sorry. Like, he was almost apologizing, like, yeah, it's going to be really hard with Trump elected, huh? And I'm like, you fucking piece of shit, leftist piece of shit, thinking that I want to talk politics. Beg my fucking eye. I say, hey, are you going to go to college? He says, yeah. I said, what are you going to study? He says, I'm going to go into the theater. I'm like, boy, that's a hard degree, man. You really, that's a hard degree to find a job. You better make sure you commit yourself to getting a doctorate. Why? Because I want to fuck that little piece of shit sheep over. And I can yell at him and lecture him and then get kicked out of the Cub Foods, which is kind of what your rage would do. Or, what you're slowly starting to realize, let them hang themselves. Encourage them. Encourage them to go down the road. Right? Yeah, hey, by the way, you should get a doctorate. Now think, that kid's going to follow my advice, and he is so going to fuck his life over. I could have grabbed him and beat the ever-living shit out of him in the parking lot. He would have healed up, he would have been fine, and I would have had a criminal record. But he is not going to recover from spending 8 years getting a doctorate in theater. If he follows my advice, I fuck that kid's life up for the rest of his life. By simply encouraging him to do something that he was already prone to do. So train your eyes to see these opportunities to let people punish themselves. Single mom, fish bicycle, don't need no man trademark. I'm going to go get my master's in women's science. I was listening, there's this old baby boomer broad. She's got her, these people say, oh, you're going to go get your master's? I'm like, I got to see this. Because she looked like she was a middle-aged, ugly woman that never took care of herself, and men never played a role in life, and female beauty was a foreign concept to her because obviously she was from the 70s and the 60s, and beauty is a social construct. And she says, they say, well, you're getting your master's. I was kind of eavesdropping. What's your undergrad? Well, my undergrad was in journalism. I'm like, she is going to fuck up her life. I could interrupt that conversation. You with your short fuse. I said, what the fuck is wrong with you, stupid? Or you could just say, you know what? That woman has voted leftist her entire life. She has voted against freedom. She has voted against Western civilization. Although in Brazil it's different. Portugal, anyway. She's just voting against freedom. And I could try to stop her and try and convince her. Or I could just let her waste the remainder of her 20 years of life expectancy, 3 or 4 of which would be spent getting a master's degree in whatever the fuck it was going to be, indebting her and ensuring that what sliver of life she has left is ruined. These people will ruin themselves. You do not have to encourage it. It is not your responsibility to stop them. But by God, if you can't make money off of them. So some professors out there with a creative writing is going to make, she's going to give 70, 100 grand to some fucking college while she fucks herself over. And not in a good way, sexual way. She's literally just going to fuck herself over financially. You want to be the professor. You want to be on the receiving end. So keep an eye out for charlatan-like hustles. Legal charlatan-like hustles. These people, especially now that we've educated kids with leftist Marxist thought, it is so easy to sell them bullshit. It is so easy. I mean, look at fat acceptance. Holy shit. Big is beautiful. How do you not make money on that? How do you, it's not that, your trick is to find something new to sell the sheep. Alright, that's how you should turn this around, and if you do it right, man, you're going to be mentally healthier, better. You're going to be less stressed out. You'll be way further ahead. Look, you don't need that much money. You're already doing just fine. And you got a great career on top of it. You get a little side entrepreneurial hustle. And it gives you a reason to wake up in the morning. Like, I really, really, really want to write this book. I don't have time. But there's this book that it's chick lit, and chicks would buy it up, man. And they would fucking buy it up. And it's almost not for the money, because I'm a minimalist. I don't need the money. It would just be to see how many people would buy this as a dark, macabre experiment with the human psyche. To see how many lives could I fuck up with this utter bullshit. So, but I'm just trying to change your view. You got potential, you got the IQ, you got the skills, you got the setup, you got your life. Now just make sure you don't fuck up. You got a base, don't fuck that up. You need food, clothing, shelter. Don't fuck that up with your anger and rage. But also look at the capitalistic, opportunistic, Machiavellian, mercenary side of this. And then also realize these people want it. They want it, and I claim they deserve it, because I'm not allowed to compete or excel or achieve as much as I could if we had a normally functioning, idealistic society. I know that sounds utopian, but if it was just the 1950s. I mean, imagine if you were here in the 50s and I was in the 50s. I mean, imagine you and I were in the United States in the 1950s. Holy fucking shit, what could we accomplish? Because there's none of this fucking bullshit you gotta deal with. Everyone at the office is like a World War II vet and they fucking know the realities of life. There's no petty bullshit. Like, yeah, we gotta speak candidly or bluntly. Why? Because if we didn't, the Germans would fucking kill us. So, now, how does it make you feel, Tina? I got a trigger. I'm finding increasingly more difficult not to tell people to go fuck themselves. I'm letting all the other fucked up aspects of my life get to me, right? You gotta let that go, man. Let it go. Judo. Take the rage, turn it, and throw them on their ass the other way. This is my biggest problem, a huge hindrance. I can't afford to lose my job. See, you need your base. I do have money saved to live for several months, but I can't have this kind of setback. I know I might be painting this gloomy and dark image of a person, but I laugh, I crack some jokes, I have a beer every once in a while with my fellow moronic coworkers, and I work out. I get a haircut every now and then. I don't dress like a hobo, but on the inside I'm deteriorating. Well, look, after what you went through with the public schools and with your IQ, and that you're in a world of low IQ people, and the cult and the lack of family, you would not be normal or human if you were perfectly fine. This shows me that you're functionally normal, or you're normally functioning. You should be sad, not because you've done anything wrong, you just be, well, shit, man, this really sucks, because you're, consciously you know it, but then also unconsciously, you've lost your tribe. That's what kept you alive. So, yeah, you should feel sad and bad and down, but you shouldn't feel bad about yourself, all right? But this is one where the frontal lobes have to take over the back lobes and say, all right, this is the cards I've been dealt. I got to make the best of this situation, of which you have experience in already. So you can feel bad, you can feel rage, you can feel angry, but what I'm trying to do is give you a reason for your brain to incorporate immediately. Like when you turn the keys to a car engine, the engine fires up. Well, there's a shit ton of processes that happens at lightning speed. But there's still multiple things. I'm trying to get your brain there too, where someone turns the key to piss you off. They say something that enrages you, that's stupid. Instead of you wanting to punch them, you immediately have streamlined and conditioned and thought and meditated to train your brain to say, how can I take advantage of that person? Or laugh at them. Like in the olden days, 10, 15 years ago, I would have gotten pissed off at some girl telling me about how men have privilege or whites have privilege, or that we need to bail women out of the degrees and this and that, and something to do with sexism and how, 1 in 2 women are raped on whatever. Now I just laugh. I laugh because I know that person is going to live a miserable life. There was one gal who, oh, you're a Nazi, you're racist, da 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 da, and I was mean and uncaring, and this is almost 15 years ago. Well, she bought a house in St. Paul somewhere. It turns out she had to foreclose on it. And that is a direct relation because of her delusional ideology that she is entitled to things and that I somehow was actively and daily oppressing her unconsciously because I have privilege. I don't know how I'm oppressing people. I just enjoy. Another one, although not politically related, this is another one that helps, especially for you young boys. And this was just beaten into me. I have dated many and good-looking women, but I am conditioned now that when I see a really good-looking girl or woman, I am immediately suspectful. I'm not like, holy cow, man, look at that. I'm like, oh, because I've dated enough now to know that the better-looking the woman, the more problems there's going to be. And it's an evolutionary advancement that if I were to breed, and would my boy child, have this without having to go through, oh, well, look at that. And then put your hand on the oven enough times to burn it to realize hot chicks usually mean trouble. It's automatic. Of course, there's like, dang, I like to bang that, but it's like, oh, hang on now, there's trouble there. She's like, hey, how you doing? And then it actually ironically has led in the past to like, you're more comfortable around drop-dead gorgeous women, and they're like, well, you're not pawing at me or salivating. Like, no, I'm not. You don't have this conversation. You'll say, hey, how's it going? And then you go do something else, and then they actually talk to you, and you're kind of comfortable. Like, you're not trying to paw at them. Anyway, the larger point being, you need to train your brain to get to that point where something that angers you, just like turning over a car engine, results in you figuring out opportunistic opportunities from them, immediately assessing where they're going to go, prejudging them, which is true. They may become famous, but unlikely. And then also realizing, do you control the situation? You have to have the ability to look into the future and accelerate the time process. Say, where does this person end up in life? And if I were to stop them and intervene now, it's like an alcoholic. What if you try to tell an alcoholic not to drink? You're not my dad, And let's say you want to cause them the most amount of damage. Well, let them keep drinking. So just let these people go. You not only to keep you out of jail and keep your job, like you said, you look for how they're going to punish themselves, and you'll realize there's nothing to do but agree with them, or just stay silent. Your interest in life is your life, not office drama, not office politics, and not how this company is ran. No matter right or wrong, doesn't matter. Your number one goal is to live a happy life. Do they pay you? Do they pay you more or less? Whether you change someone's mind or not? No? Shut the fuck up and be happy. Hey, look, here's my check. What, boss? You want to do something that's horrendously stupid and dumb? I even asked my boss this one time. He called me and he was like, hey, we're going to have to do something different with this thing and that thing. And he knew, he was fair and honest. He was a good boss. He knew that this was not what I signed up for. But he didn't know at that time that I was totally using them just to make money so I could pay down my mortgage so I could refinance it at a lower rate. And he says, well, we got to do this. And I know it's, but, I really, I'm like, and I asked him. I said, his name wasn't Bill, but I said, Bill, do your checks bounce? He's like, what? I said, do your checks bounce? And he's like, you mean the banks? Yeah, like when you pay me, do the checks bounce? He's like, I hope not. I'm like, they don't. He's like, yeah. I'm like, so I don't care. Whatever you want, Bill. And then he got worried. Then he kind of knew, like, oh, shit, this guy might be a little bit of a psychopath like you're worried about becoming. It's not that you're becoming a psychopath. It's that you're becoming indifferent. You just have zero fucks to give. Very zen-like. All right? So as long as you get paid, shut the fuck up. It ain't your company. They want to run into the ground, good. Make sure if they're running the company into the ground that you got like a lifeline and another job lined up. But this is not your battle. Hey, you want me to do what? I'm here the same. I love it when people get pissed off about job duties and descriptions. I understand why you get pissed off how they hoodwink you. But I got to the point where here I am. I'm like the senior analyst. And I was copying and faxing and scanning. I was doing secretarial work. What the fuck did I care? The pay was the same, and I had to be at the office no matter what. It doesn't change it at the end of the day that they got 8 hours of your life that day, and you get paid. Nothing changed. Why make it difficult, man? I try to make this as short as I could, but I can't pretend it's not a complex situation. Anyway, I want to know what you think I should do in video, please. Alright, I told you what you should do. You've already tested your IQ, so you know that. That's one important thing to do is realize these people are dumb. Alright? I mean, they're not dumb. They're average intelligent. You're just really that smart. And they're not going to change. This is not going to change. So you have to change. Alright? How do you do that? One, accepting what you do and do not control. right? They're not going to change. They're going to make stupid decisions. They're going to suck. Lula ain't your president. Who's your president now? They're going to suck some leftist dick. They're going to espouse leftist feminist bullshit. All right? And you trying to fight that won't convince them, change them, and it will only land you in trouble. So you just accept what you do and do not control. You go in, you make your money, and then you go home and you live your life. The second thing you do, or third thing you do, looking forward down the road, how do I capitalize on these people? This would be more of an entrepreneurial endeavor, but how do I capitalize on them? How do I become mercenary? It could be in your career you change it and you become like that corporate scumbag that just lies to people and gets promoted. Awesome. Fucking do it. If you can. If you can. But in the meantime, going forward in both personal and professional life, you don't let them, you don't try and save anybody. You don't try and you don't try and stop anything. You let people go the way they are and you ask yourself, what would be the end result of them continuing their behavior? And you will find out that most of these people are going to inflict upon them way more pain and damage than you ever could if you hated them with a passion of 1,000 suns. Because you just cannot harm people more than real life will. You just can't. So, and there's too much risk in hurting people or trying to stop them or trying to get to do what's right. So let them do it. Profit and capitalize them as they do it if you can, but certainly do not let it bother you. All right? Because your life is going to be miserable otherwise. It's just going to be miserable otherwise. So hopefully a little bit of vengeance, a little bit of comeuppance, a little bit of justice, where you can actually take advantage of these people and get money out of them. That's the best and most healthy way to do this. I know it's dark and Machiavellian, and people say, oh, that's evil. That's not what the rest of society, you could get smart. You could stop voting for leftist socialist dipshittery and jacking up our taxes. You could start supporting yourselves. You could become educated. Until People Magazine and The Inquirer and all these dipshit magazines are replaced with the Wall Street Journal and Reason Magazine and The Economist and the Financial Times, until I start to see evidence that society really wants to improve itself, it deserves to be taken advantage of. All right. Hope that helped out. Longer one than I was expecting, but this is an important lesson, not just for you, but for everybody else. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.